Good evening. Welcome to another fun-filled night here on Spirit Connections. Woo! I always expect like an audience to participate in that, but we don't have any tonight. But what we do have is Mr. Andrew Lake and Mr. Matt Moniz. And of course, Miss Lillian Marie, guest of honor, which makes everything just so much more better. So, as I promised, we're doing the round table, and I'm so happy that we were able to get both of you guys this time. Sorry, I have Pepsi breath, and I know we're really close. Steph brought in, I don't know if that'd be promoting a product, but Steph brought in a cherry Pepsi for me, so I guzzled that down, and now I'm sitting really close to Andy, so I do apologize.
I had a cup of coffee, so my breath can't be much better.
No, we all have dragon breath around here, so that's fine. That's fine. So how you guys doing?
Not too bad.
Excellent, excellent.
Good, good. And what'd you guys think of Haunted History Night in Wareham this last Saturday night?
I think it went really well. Everybody seemed to be pretty happy about it. It seemed to go nice and smooth, and Jeff Belanger got his first EVP.
Excellent.
Hey.
Yeah, so
Yep, I was
Maybe-
there when
maybe-
you
That's
did it.
saying something.
yeah, maybe you'll start believing in him now.
I was enjoying the table tipping myself personally. I thought that
yeah.
experiment
Steph did
that
the
we
table
did was
tipping.
I sent
interesting.
Steph a message the next day saying thanks for that experience, because that was pretty cool.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
And even Jeff, was going around the table with a camera, and he said, he was pretty impressed by it too, because there was no trickery. There was no wires or magnets or,
No.
Steph hit the table with her knees.
Well, I
and all
even
that.
saw some people afterwards picking up the table and inspecting the table just to make sure there was nothing
Yep,
that
which
was
is so
fishy,
funny.
Oh, but I did have one guy tell me during one of the breaks that night that he knew that was all a trick because Harry Houdini had
Oh,
exposed
okay.
that. So
Oh,
I was like, oh, all
okay,
right.
Yeah.
But yet he wants to go ghost hunting with me.
Yes. That's funny. That's funny.
And also, I guess there were some people that were dead set against using the Ouija board, but the first in line for table tipping.
Yep. That happened. And then there was some people that were totally against both, which is okay. But I think they saw how I did it with the power of protection. And Jeff kind of just put the Ouija board down and gave like the Bob Merch
Yeah, right.
point of view. And it still freaked people out because it's just got that weird...
It's a weird vibe.
Everything
It's that
following
weird.
it. So people are actually trying to use the Ouija board on my table when we finished the table tipping part, and they were trying to get the planchette to move, and it would not move for them at all. And all of a sudden, my table actually jumped into the air about an inch or so and came crashing down. And it freaked people out, and they were all set for the rest of the night. So
I heard that from Jeff. Jeff said, yeah, something really freaky happened with the Ouija board. It just jumped off of Steph's table.
my best guess, and I told Jeff, my guides probably aren't fans of
Yeah,
the Ouija board being on the table, so that might have been what happened.
Well, it does have a bit of a stigma to it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So, so that was kind of funny. The best part was Jeff was on his knees, like facing the table, probably about a foot away from the table when it happened. I was too far away, and it was dark to see if it actually happened or not. But his reaction was good enough for me. So
And that was the last group of the night, right?
that was actually, I believe, I don't even know now. You know what? I don't know.
I know he caught the EVP in the first
The
session.
first group, yeah.
I don't know when the Ouija board jumping incident happened.
I think that
over
was
at the
actually
chapel.
right before the break. So it had to be the second group.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
we were able to tell you guys about it and like still talk and stuff. And I think we told the third group about it. I could be completely wrong, but I think it was either the second or third.
That's crazy.
Did anybody else hear about any other things going on in the tavern or anywhere else?
Well, I know in the school things were very interesting. We had a number of people noticing a temperature difference from one room to the other. I mean, we measured at a 10-degree difference.
It was a warm and comfortable night
Right.
that night.
And it was an extremely cold dip in the post office. And that's where everybody kept
Big
hearing the
surprise.
movement. And,
In the year before, you had two
Yep.
experiences in that room. So
And we had several more happen this year that people definitely hearing and seeing. We had laser grids set up and found stuff going on in both the post office area and the kitchen. things moving about. And
Oh
it
yes,
was,
things were definitely moving in the kitchen. Tiffany and
That's
I were actually
interesting.
reading in there beforehand, and she was in the schoolhouse and I was in the kitchen part. Complete darkness. I think you had a flashlight, but I was
Yeah.
sitting in the complete dark. And we actually both heard something move at the same time, and we could hear each other faintly, and I could hear her say, "What was that?" at the same time I did. And we actually both got up from our readings to check it out because we were really scared, and because I
Sounded
couldn't
like
even see
someone was
anything.
moving furniture.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. So I was getting up to look to see like who's trying to scare us right now, and it was nobody. And then I actually heard like some things moving about like in the room with me, and I know like the different spirits of the schoolhouse were kind of interrupting my readings on top of it, but it was definitely active in there before the night even started.
Wow.
yeah.
That's really cool.
So it was interesting. We actually both ran out of there screaming at one point because we were by
Yeah, 'cause
ourselves.
we didn't want to be. Yeah, we didn't want to be left alone.
And
in
we
there.
saw something and we ran.
It was funny because I was in the tavern with Tim, and we were using the Ovilus, the shack hack, and we kept on hearing. We'd ask a question, and they kept on saying yes, 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 and it was just all different tones.
Yeah, so it wasn't the same person saying yes
Right.
over and over again on that same frequency. It was just repeatedly
Just repeat-
different tones, different sounding
Exactly,
voices.
and
Wow.
so we thought that was a little bit peculiar because, even Tim said, he goes, I'm used to hearing maybe a yes, but to hear it in all different tones, like male, female, all over the place.
Now, was that in the actual tap room?
That was in the tavern part.
Oh, that's weird because we did an experiment with that ghost box with Tim, and we kept getting shut up over and over again. He kept trying to ask questions, and it got so funny we started to giggle.
Really?
Tim would go, "Now, can I ask? Shut up." And it was a different shut up, and it was repeatedly.
That's weird.
That's
and
funny.
it was in that room too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the tavern. But
I
now we're
was pinched in
establishing
that
that the
room.
old schoolhouse and the mail post office
office.
rather, yeah,
Yeah.
has activity. Which I can't say anything's really going on in that chapel, but there's something got to be attached to it. And we have to hear back from everybody to see if they caught any EVPs because so much is going
Hell,
on.
even 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So there's a possibility. And I did last year see some kind of weird spark of light in the aisle, and one other person witnessed it with me. And Tiffany was there and felt that quite possibly could have been a child in the church. So we'll keep an eye and an ear on the chapel, but I think the post office is pretty cool. Maybe we can get back in there sometime.
Well, we've got open invitation
Yeah.
to go back in there, and we've also got a museum offered to us
Yeah, that's
that
pretty
we're
cool.
going to take them up on.
A house formerly owned by the man who opened trade for America around the world.
Correct.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. A lot
Well,
of,
you let us
a lot of
know.
history. Oh, yes. No, I even told the ladies from the Historic Society that we'd want to bring these two gals along, and they were pretty excited about that.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because a portion of the proceeds that from Legend Trips went to the Wareham Historical Society.
They were able to
I-
fix a floor because
Mm-hmm.
of it. That's really great.
Yep.
And I can't stress that enough, guys. So whenever time there's a Legend Trip event, usually a portion of it goes towards whatever society or
Large
whatever
portion
facility.
of it. And with the legend trips, we really just cover our costs of putting it together. None of us, as you know, really make a paycheck on it.
Right.
You know, we may get covered for our fuel and food, and that's about it. All of the rest of the money goes to the place that we're
facility.
letting us do what we do. And look at what we did at Fort Tabor.
Yes.
Oh yeah, amazing.
We paid for the heat for the winter to keep the museum open.
And that is
So now
a-
the museum doesn't have to dip into
No.
their
And that is an awesome museum.
Yes.
I've been to the Imperial War Museum in London, which is a massive museum that covers the carnage of the world through military action. But this little museum in New Bedford, I was absolutely blown away by it because it's such a personal museum, and it shows the people from the New Bedford area that served this country from the Revolution all the way to Afghanistan today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool
very,
experience.
Very, very amazing. So it feels good to be able to help out like that.
It was cooler to go and open a book and see my dad's name in there.
Yes,
too.
that was-
That was cool.
wild. Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yep. We actually have a chat room question, and I want to get it out there before it starts piling up. This is actually for Andy, but I think Matt can probably answer this as well, because Tiffany and I both go on investigations with both of you, sometimes at the same time, sometimes different times. When you do investigations, how do you validate the information that comes through with Tiffany and Stephanie's gifts of spirit work?
Want to start with that, Matt?
Well, they're asking you. But
Okay, well, and because we've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think probably the first thing is to tell these ladies very little about where we're taking them
Yeah.
to begin with. And also to keep our mouths zipped and our poker faces on and only give yes and no answers when we can, just to help them so they're not wasting time with it with a thought or an image. And we've also probably know a little bit more about the place long before we brought them there. And it's also good to have either the homeowner, business owner, or historian with you to see if any of this could be backed up.
Like
Right
what
then
we've
and
done
there.
in the past.
Yeah, or looked into further by just looking into town records. But validation does come in different forms at different times. It doesn't all come at once. But it's been amazing how much we've been able to say, yes, it's definitely right what you're picking up here at this location. So I would say everything from the property owner, our own personal knowledge, right down to looking into town records.
And I have a question that kind of goes along with that question that was asked. I always call your first experience with the medium to be an aha moment. Like, oh my gosh, it's usually a personal experience, and you finally understand what it's like to receive a message or a validation from someone that's passed. Can you guys explain to me if you've ever experienced that aha moment?
Oh, yeah. With Steph over at Matt's house. And the odd thing is it was such a personal message, Steph doesn't even remember what came out of her mouth, which is really strange. But I was just having a very personal conversation with a friend about something, and my dad, who had just passed 3 years this November, just came right through Steph. We were talking about something completely unrelated, and she just stopped me and said, "Your father's here, and I have to tell you this." And she gave me the message, and it was just so, boom, the right time, the right place, and something very wonderful to hear and understand, and help me set some things aside that I didn't need to deal with anymore.
Right.
Well, getting back to what you're talking about, when we take you girls to places, we pretty much have the basic outline of what the history of the place is and what general stories are. You guys can sometimes get down into such detail that we got to go diving back into the records. Is like, whoa, wait a minute. You also had this, and then what's funny is when you find the connection between what you talked about, the data that we already know what's there, and then you go back and it's like now looking laterally left and right that connects to it, and then finding that validation. So I mean, no matter how much you dig into, the records, you don't know what's pertinent and what isn't.
Right.
In a lot of times, and sometimes you guys hit on,
And
the areas that I wouldn't normally look at.
And those
in the
subtle
records.
details, I always tell people who say, "Oh, I'd like to get into ghost hunting and all that." And I tell them, it's the research is so important. And I tell younger people that old people are cool. Have conversations with the old people in town, because you'd be surprised. You'd be looking into an alleged haunting in the area, and you're just having a casual conversation with some guy about who used to work on cars back in the 50s, and all of a sudden he'll just drop a part of a story that's like, "Oh my goodness, wait a minute, you knew that guy, that did happen? Oh yeah, I can tell you who to go talk to." And it's funny how these things will fall into place. And sometimes you have been told by a spirit medium or a psychic you're working with on the case has said something about that, and you're like, "What? What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about." Then you're having that casual conversation with somebody who's been in the town their whole life, their family has been there a couple of generations.
Right.
And they give you that one little detail that's like, boom, oh my goodness. It all falls together.
The same person asked, and I think we covered this a little bit. It says, so you are saying that there are times when you have to go to the records after the readings, which you guys pretty much covered.
Yeah, because something may not have occurred to you. Because I've
Yep.
like
What I said, a lot of times you
Yeah.
get the pieces of information that come out. It's like, oh, I checked, the town records for who owned the place in terms of the taxes or census and stuff like that. But this person also had, experienced their thing in a fire. And then I was like, I didn't think to go check the fire department's record and find the same
Right,
address.
right.
It was like, so you get these little left
Yeah.
turns that can turn out
Yeah.
to be like,
Yep.
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, okay, I got to go back to this source or go check out a source I haven't looked into. So yeah, sometimes things can come up and you can be like, you know, the spirit medium, the psychic you're working with can be like, no, I'm telling you, I'm getting this. I don't know why they're showing me this, but they're telling me it's important, it's important. So it's like, okay, I never thought about the apple trees that used to grow out back, but maybe I should go check, you know, records and find out
Right.
how big was this orchard and did anything, you know, bad happen out on the orchard. So these little things will get thrown at you and you realize, okay, I gotta go do some more homework.
The next question we have is directed to Matt, and it
Okay.
says, has there been any new evidence that comes through on tourist-type places that were aha pieces of information? And by tourist, they mean Lizzie's house, etc.
Very good question.
I just would like to know what I mean by aha.
well,
That's a little bit
That's
more.
what
You know what? I always say that, like, the reason why I say aha, it's like that when you're receiving a message and you're like, oh,
Oh, that makes sense. Or it kind of
Okay.
like,
I think I
Alright.
understand
It
the
grabs your
question being is
attention.
So
something
that's how
new.
I'm-
Yeah.
Because a lot of these
Yeah,
places, I know what they
something-
mean, like the Waverly Hills locations, whatever, people have investigated them, you know, to death, so to speak. But
No pun
there
intended.
still can be, yeah, I think those
yeah,
aha
it says
moments in those
information
places.
that had not been revealed before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always getting pieces that show up, even in the touristy places, like in Lizzie's and stuff like that. There are new letters being released from the lawyer's office
Right,
now.
I
that,
heard
you
about
know,
that.
So there always is, you know, new information unfolding. History's always unfolding. People are always uncovering other little tidbits and stuff like that. But if you're talking also about, you know, other aha things where people capturing evidence, a lot of these touristy trap places have got, you know, the looky-loos, as I'll call it,
Yeah.
no offense, that wind up catching things. You know, the general population, just from its reputation going there with their own recorders and whatever.
Last year in Scotland, I forgot the name of the castle, but they hold a lot of weddings and public occasions there. And this kid was just walking around taking pictures with his digital camera and caught a translucent white lady going down the staircase. And he'd taken hundreds of pictures, and he was just going through them weeks after the wedding, and it was like, whoa. And when they asked the people at the location, they're like, yeah, we have a white lady that walks that staircase. Everybody knew about it, he didn't. But again, one of those touristy locations has a legend, and like Matt said, the guys just clicked that shot at the right moment and
How
got
about
it.
the guy from where I worked that took that picture in
Oh,
Ireland?
yeah, in Ireland, it seems to be a bodiless head just floating in between two people at a historic site. Kind of odd.
I have a question for you, which I know, Matt, you had answered briefly on it the last time you were here, but so I'll ask Andy, and feel free to add to it as well.
Okay.
Andy, what would be your favorite place to investigate?
Oh, like one I haven't been to would definitely, I'd like to get into there. I don't know, maybe the Vaults of Edinburgh, because I've heard enough about that location to know that some of it has to be, you know, actual
Right.
psychical information and energy implanted
Right.
down there. So I think that would, and not only that, but Edinburgh is a great city. So I'd like to go back.
I'd love
and
to
check
go.
that out.
I would love to
Yeah.
go. I'd love to go.
What about you, Matt?
I've already answered this question. It's like I answered it on a multitude of different levels, where I'd like to go for crypto, where I'd like to go for UFO, where I'd like to go for things paranormal and alike. But Washington, crypto, state of Washington.
Yeah.
You can
right.
also
Well,
find some in DC
no,
too.
you can find some in DC, I think. Chupacabras.
Yeah, ain't they? And for UFOs, I definitely would like to go back to check out some stuff in Roswell and some stuff that's going on in England at the moment. And Roswell for historical, England for current event things going on. And I would also like to go check out a couple more places in England as far as ghosty stuff.
Yeah, they do have a few over there.
And also, Matt, before I forget, there was a request that you bring your Bigfoot cast again. So
Sure.
the next time you come on, if you can bring.
I got a couple of them. I'll bring.
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was
I even
talking
have
to
the
someone
handprint
today, and they
ones,
said,
too, so.
"Is he going to bring all his stuff with him?" So the next time, we'll make sure we
Yeah, I got
prepare you for it.
a lot of curious little artifacts, don't I?
Oh yeah.
A whole collection. You have a prop for every conversation. It's the coolest thing ever.
I know.
I'm going to interrupt you with a question. They'd like to know, do any of you have a hard time getting to sleep at night after an investigation or after giving readings?
What about you?
Me, sorry, I was staring into Lily's eyes. Actually, I am pretty exhausted after an investigation, so I do my little white light of protection that I do all the time, and it makes me feel good, and I'm usually lights out. I'm exhausted.
I'm usually wired from too much coffee. I end up going through photographs or something.
And Swedish fish.
Yeah. I crash like a rock, and my snoring has been deemed paranormal, so it'll keep away spirits and anybody living or dead. So.
You, Steph?
I have a nightmare after every single thing that I do. I think there was one time.
Is it the same?
No,
Okay.
It's related to where you've been.
sometimes. There's one time where I didn't, and I woke up like kind of surprised. Like, why didn't I have a nightmare? But even like this past weekend was like horrific, and I woke up like, what is going on? So I don't know what causes it. I have no idea. But yeah, I have a tough time sleeping.
Well, that's not good.
No.
Oh. What about you, Lily?
Lily sleeps all the time. All the time. Rest is not
That's
a
her job.
problem.
That's her
Yep.
job.
Yep. And to look good at all times, too. I love it.
Funny.
Well, Matt, would you ever think about writing a book?
I got a couple in mind that I'd like to do. I just need the time in which to do it in. Because usually I'm helping everybody else with their books.
I know.
I say
It's-
go
I
for
know.
it.
It's the truth.
It's true. It's true.
Technically, I'm published more than other people that think about it. But it's the truth.
And would you put it on one category, such as aliens, or UFOs?
Yeah, I have an idea for each avenue
Each-
as a book
okay.
and an idea for one compendium type. You know, if
How do
somebody
you
just
even
wants to.
choose?
That's the hard part.
I was gonna say, which one do you pick first?
know.
It's almost like being in a candy store. Now, which one's your favorite?
I've gotten involved personally in so many of them and know the stories, know the people, and things like that. I would like to do little, what do they call vignettes? Little vignettes on each subject, and then they're like a mated compendium that goes to a larger book about the whole. You
And
know.
a series of action figures that go with it.
Yes,
I like that. I
Lauren
like
Coleman.
Lauren Coleman action figures sold separately.
Now, Andy, I have a two-part question for you. One, do you think you'd work on a second book? And then two, would it be possible if you did an audiobook?
Well, I am trying to work on a second book, but apparently you need a computer to write it, and mine just died. But no, I do have a second book that I've been piecing together and trying to figure out how to put it together to make it a smooth, enjoyable read. And I'm not going to give up on the idea. It's too good, and I've already been to enough places to get the ball rolling on it. But I even have an idea for a third book. If I get that one out of the way, I'd like to do a sort of kind of rip off Hans Holzer and do a book, series of my own personal investigations. You know, my involvement with the spirit mediums and the public and my adventures with Matt and others. I think it would make I really think it would make an interesting book.
Yeah.
But an audio book, you're not the first person who's asked me about that. I know somebody who has an audio project. They want to do some dramas, audio dramas. And I'm a huge fan of old-time radio. I have hundreds and hundreds of old-time radio shows. So the idea of maybe doing an Edgar Allan Poe or H.P. Lovecraft story in an audio format, I think that would be great. But when I get more books written, yeah, I'll end up doing the books on tape.
Because the books on tape seem to be pretty easy,
Yeah.
and it's right up your alley. I'm just saying, one of the girls at work was asking. But do you think he would do audio? I'll ask.
Well, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible because I did inherit my dad's speaking voice. So yeah, it's possible.
Judy Rice. But anyway, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's my mother. Anyways, I don't know if you have some questions.
I have one.
Okay.
It says, Andy and Matt, Have you done any investigations in upstate New York, up near Canada, mid-state, not Rochester?
No, but we know a group up there with Slaps.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
of people,
yeah.
but yeah, I have done one thing up in the Lake George area.
Oh, sure you did. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was an interesting.
Lake George is nice.
Yeah, you what sort of fork lift up out of a.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It was a utensil.
Yeah, and you got a whispering EVP in that place. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. But myself, no. I'm probably going to be going to the Hudson Valley area of New York very soon, though, and I'm looking forward to it. I've been hunting down cool old people with knowledge of the area, and I've been given a phone number of a lady who's been collecting ghost stories. So I can't wait to get in touch with her and sit down and listen to ghost stories and folklore of that area. Yeah, which I'm told it's rich, but not too many people have touched on it in that area. A few people have, a few books here and there, but not the way I will be.
Well, here's a question in the spirit of Halloween and history and some folklore. What do you guys think about Salem, Mass?
I grew up basically going there. I had relatives there, so I was in the city all the time. Aside from the tourist aspect of it, and the history, because a lot of people think, oh, the witch trials and stuff like that. It has a far more sordid history than just the witch trials.
Right.
I mean, it was a location for pirates. That's where pirates, used to anchor, and divvy up their booty and stuff like that. There've been a number of people, run through and strung up long before anybody accused of witchcraft there. So,
Yeah, a lot of history there. Former guest on the show, Terry Jamros, took me up there for Polish food and walked me around. As you know, she's a very talented spirit medium. And after dinner, she took me to the actual haunted places, not the tourist locations, and little places she walks by and can feel things and see people and hear things. So that was a lot of fun walking around and with my infrared camera and trying to see if we could catch anything. But good Polish food and nice town to walk around.
Right.
And, but I haven't explored it enough to give an opinion.
I've only been up there a handful of times. I wish I could get up there more. I'm trying. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of crowds. I know this is the season to go up, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of being in a lot of crowds. So, so I like to go literally like the weekend after if I can.
The weekends are the worst anyways.
Yeah.
It's a cool place though.
It's been a few years since I've been up there. It's been like 2 or 3 years. since
It's
I've
been a long
up there.
time for me too.
But they have a good English pub up there called the Old Spot.
Okay.
They have good fried fish.
Ew.
Side
What
note.
about fish and chips? Okay. Then maybe I'll go.
Yeah.
All right,
That's a
he's
good
sold.
time.
He twisted his arm.
Do you have a question or you want me to
Nope,
go?
waiting for you.
Oh, okay. So another, well, this isn't really, well, this one's random, but the book, sorry, I was reading part of the question. The other questions were kind of related. This one is somewhat off topic. What is your favorite kind of dinner?
wow.
I just watched Matt eat a big bowl of Hamburger Helper just before he came here. So besides Hamburger Helper, Matt, what else?
This is how to get to know these guys. So ask any question you want. It doesn't have to
All
be
right.
paranormal,
What-
obviously.
Something I prepare for myself and friends, or are you talking going out somewhere?
If you had your last meal, what would it be?
Oh, that's tough.
What would you cherish more? Are you a meat and potatoes kind of guy?
Oh yeah, that kind of.
Kielbasa?
It all depends. Am I going because of, so it's just my time, or have I done something and somebody's making sure I'm gone type of meal?
No, this is like the last time you'll ever eat, ever again.
That's pretty harsh, Tiff.
I'm sorry. How about what do you
well-
like to eat most? Italian?
I hate you. Andy, all I can think about.
Fish or Mediterranean?
I'm trying to decide.
English, Irish.
There's so many different flavors that
Brazilian.
come to mind in my palate that I.
Andy, all I can think about is your shoes.
That's because they're real tight together right now. They're just tapping the floor.
No, but we went to Mike's in Fairhaven, and they boxed up your shoes for you to take home.
Oh God! Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, but no, I don't know.
Good prime rib. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe General Tso chicken, or and again.
You're more of a Chinese
Yeah,
kind
but
of
then
guy.
again, nice simple plate of spaghetti and meatballs, or steak and baked potatoes and asparagus. I don't know. That's
I've been on an onion soup kick.
yeah.
I don't know why. I can't quit it. I don't know. What about you, Steph? We usually have linguiça patties at your house.
I don't know. You could just call me Garfield, and I think I'll be happy.
Lasagna.
Lasagna.
Yeah.
Meat or veggie? Like a
Both.
Meat.
really?
Yeah. Veggie lasagna is gross.
Do you like red meat?
Veggie
Yes.
anything's gross.
I'm not much of a red meat eater.
I am. I couldn't escape it if I tried.
I know you do like beef.
Thank you, Tiff.
Okay.
Tiffany,
now that we
Tiffany
did-
has to ask questions about food, folks.
All the
It's-
time.
Oh.
It happens during readings too. When I
we
start to
actually-
get hungry.
We like to call her the raccoon, formerly known as the seagull.
My first job, my boss called me Seagull. Cinnabon, 5 years.
Yeah,
Why
she
do you
worked
think
at a
I
food
have an
place,
eating
and they called her
disorder?
Seagull.
'Cause I eat so many Cinnabons.
Oh, man.
I meant that in a nice way.
It's all about food.
How can that be taken wrong?
Yeah.
I actually brought her cookies for after the show.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. And the cherry Pepsi.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, Tiff-
So, what'd you get us?
Cookies. I brought you ghost cookies too.
do you guys have any questions for us? This is an open-ended. Just so you guys know, we are here with Andrew Lake and Matt Moniz, and it's just a paranormal discussion, whether it's paranormal, spirit medium, what
So,
have you.
we get to ask any questions,
You can
like, you know,
ask.
boxers or briefs, or...
Sure, if you want to ask us those questions. I don't wear neither.
I was gonna say I'm not really
Awkward.
into it.
But
Hey,
well, that's even more. I
this
guess
is
my
what you
answer is
get when you
awkward.
toss these things out to us.
Awkward? I
can
think
be-
I've felt uncomfortable at least 5 times so far.
I know. Lily's
You're welcome.
liberal.
Yeah, thank you. You just cover her ears. It's
Yeah.
fine. I do have a question in the
Yeah,
chat
Mouse.
room. Let's see. I have to back up. What is next on the investigation route?
I feel sorry. I'm moving in
I
closer.
mean, for us, for our own investigations, or
Anything, I guess. They didn't really specify.
well, I'm still in a hole in Situate, Rhode Island, digging dirt and rocks out of the way.
Yes.
So I've got to concentrate on that investigation. And I know, Matt, you're looking into one right here in town, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm waiting until after the busy season, as we
Yeah.
call it, to get
Yeah.
out of the way. And in my old neighborhood, and I know the people that are roaming about. That's
Yeah.
I know the family, and it's going to be the first time I've actually encountered something like this. In all the years I've been doing this.
Yeah, you knew them in
This one,
flesh.
yeah. So, this is going to be a little,
Personal.
yeah. Because I've gone out so many, you know,
Yeah.
and then.
Right.
Well, it was really funny, just to throw this out, the investigation I'm doing in Situate, Rhode Island, Matt finally got to show up at the place, and he comes around the corner with Matt's goofy look on his face. He goes, "You want to hear something funny? I was here 23 years ago installing the cable." So there are no coincidences.
It's just when
funny.
I pulled into the neighborhood, I'm like, I installed cable in most of the houses in here. You know, when I was working for the cable company in Rhode Island, and I turned down the street, and as I come to the corner where the property is, it's like, yeah, I've been
And
here.
that's the house.
That's funny. That is so funny. But activity's really picked up since we dug the hole. And Anne Marie's been hearing people coming up the walkway, but the door never opens. And someone keeps coming in through the downstairs and shutting a door that was already shut. So somebody is definitely getting anxious and pacing about the property. My friends say, how does she live there? Because she's smart. They're only footsteps. Footsteps can't hurt you. Maybe spooky a little bit.
Oh, yeah, just a little.
But my friend's got a spine and a backbone. She can stand up to it.
And she's a great cook.
Yes.
She's a great cook.
Found that out, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely a great cook.
Coffee's always on.
And lemonade.
And lemonade,
Yeah,
yes.
so good. So
Unless
good.
you think chicken stock is actually lemonade, because that happened to Tiffany and I. Did we tell you that?
You made lemonade with chicken stock?
No, there was a big container of chicken stock, and we were so hungry, and we went inside to get the turkey dinner that she had made.
Right.
There's this big container, and you know, Amory always has lemonade.
Right.
Well, Tiffany went to go pour the chicken stock, thinking it was lemonade because it looked identical
It
to
was
it.
for you. It was for
It was
you.
for me.
Yes. And I was like, I'll get you some, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
Thank God someone stopped us. That's all I have to say.
My hand was on the
Yeah.
mouth of it.
Like, what are you doing?
Okay.
Like, oh, I'm just getting lemonade. I'm like, no, that's not lemonade. Just kidding.
Those aren't olives.
Well, I know the next thing for Legend Trips is the Dead of Winter Lizzie Borden's.
Which is already sold out except for 3
Oh my
seats,
gosh.
I believe.
Wow.
It's sold, Jeff called me to say how quickly it sold out. They sent out an email bomb.
Not even 3 days.
To all
No,
all our regular fans of the Legend
Wow.
Trips, and all but 3 tickets got sold. And he said, I think by the time Tim Weisberg gets home, he'll probably have the other 3 sold. So, and I can't say any more than this, but Jeff did also talk to me about a location he contacted in Connecticut, where they might be interested in having a Legend Tripping event. And the history in that building, I can tell you, is amazing. It even appeared in my book.
I know what you're talking about.
It'd be interesting because, the Legend Tripping fans who know us through Spooky South Coast and 30-odd Minutes and Spirit Connections would probably like an event a little bit closer to them. So, and it wouldn't be too bad for some people in Massachusetts and Rhode Island to drive either. It would be well worth it. I hope it goes through.
Well, I think that's the best thing about Legend Trips is we're even opening our doors even more to more locations. And I know Tim had sent out a post on Facebook asking you guys at home, what you would like to see, where you would like to go. Do you want a bigger venue, smaller venue? What is it that would make you want to go? So I think that's great.
Yeah. No, people seem to enjoy it, and we do some good.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Any questions?
So,
Yes. Hold on, I have to find it.
I know that's the one thing with the chat room. It keeps
Yeah, it
on
just keeps
Yeah.
going
up
and
Yeah, it
then
keeps
it
rolling.
erases. Have you ever found a craving for some particular food after doing an investigation that was centered around a food-centric area, like Hush Puppies from the South?
Huh.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
that is a good question.
Can we have this person come in and start asking questions? Cause
Maybe onto something.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll give you a good example. When I was doing Eastern State, Philly. So where do you think I'm heading? I'm heading to Geno's.
Yeah,
It's like-
yeah.
But is that because Geno's is there, and so
I'll have to keep an eye on that, or just pay attention to that. That makes you wonder. After having contact in a haunted area, can you pick up some of the former desires while they were in flesh, and take those with you? Like,
Yeah.
like
I'm sure you
like
could.
wanting black coffee.
Yes.
There we go. We have
Yes.
that's
true.
we can say we actually saw that. Tiffany likes her coffee with sugar and was drinking lemonade at a location, and her body language started to change, and she all of a sudden started drinking black coffee for no reason.
Plain black.
And the homeowner and I couldn't help but think how much she was reminding us of her late mom, Anne, who drank her coffee
Yeah.
black.
Yeah.
And it was rather unusual, and we got a very strange EVP at that same time frame.
You guys
Yeah.
have to,
Yes.
you have to go to greenvilleparanormal.com, and if you click on investigations and scroll down, because I did this last
Yeah.
night, you scroll down to the bottom, and it's
Private investigations.
private
Situate, Rhode Island.
investigations, yeah, and it's under Jasmine is
Yes,
the
yeah, the
EVP.
There's several things there, but right there was a craving that you couldn't understand, but Anne Marie and
Yeah.
I knew what it was about.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I went to Waverly Hills Sanitarium, I went and got fried tomatoes and, like all the stuff.
Southern stuff, yeah.
Fried okra.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so I checked out all the southern stuff. But of course, that was before the investigation. I didn't have to wait.
Tiffany has no problem investigating
yeah.
restaurants.
I dive right in for it.
Like certain places that you should bring us back to very soon. Tavern on Main.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, wait, where?
Good
Tavern on
place.
Main in Chepachet, Rhode Island.
Great onion soup.
I
History,
keep thinking about it.
great
I know.
history.
Need to go back.
The food is terrific. The atmosphere is terrific, and the place is haunted as heck.
Yes.
It really, the activity is like every month that something happens in that place to make the waitresses jump or the kitchen staff wonder what just happened.
And
should
I'm
go on a
telling you
night where
guys,
it's
if you
not that
want
busy.
really good food and a hauntingly good time,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, 'tis the season. It's
Route
great.
44 in Chepachet, the Tavern on Main, formerly the Stagecoach Inn, but
Yeah.
probably one of the best ghost videos next to Matt Moniz's video at Waverly. But there was a ghost caught on camera there by a junior ghost hunter, so to speak, and I've watched the video many times, and it's
Is that on your website?
on my website, I have the link to the Tavern on Main website.
Okay, 'cause I did see that.
On their restaurant website, there is a spot to click on.
Oh, okay.
Watch the video of our ghost and blow it up. Click it up on your screen and watch it. It even looks like a second figure is following the first figure. But what's interesting is it's not a light anomaly because it's harder to see in the darker corner and it's easier to see in the light. And
Right.
it is. It looks like somebody wearing a cape, and you hear the thunk thunk of their
Those boots.
on the,
You can even see the boots.
and they're heading in the direction where the horses would have been.
I'm gonna have to check
So,
that out.
oh, it's a fascinating video. It's one of the best paranormal videos, and the food there is supernatural too. It's very, very good, very good, easy to get
It's
to.
very cozy, so I'm telling you, like, I think this season would be the best season to
Antique
go.
shops all around it. They're haunted.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fire station's haunted. There's a great cemetery. Right around the corner.
Okay.
Just a great
Yeah.
place to visit. Very pretty around this time of year too. The foliage right now in Rhode Island
Oh,
is
yeah.
amazing.
Judy just made me take a picture of a tree tonight. She did. I had to post it on her Facebook.
Tiffany, take a picture of that.
I need to take a picture of something. What?
Matt and I have to meet her someday. It's like we know her, but we haven't met her.
I know.
Okay.
For you, Jude.
Hair pulled back. Andy in his Sunday best.
My casual Sunday best.
Casual. Business casual. Sorry, Steph. Go ahead.
It's okay. A listener would like to know if there's any crockery involved in either of the investigations that you two were talking about previously, Anne Marie's and the personal one too, that you know the people. Was there a pottery place or Chinaware factory or something nearby?
Well, you know what's really weird? I've been discussing
Nearby,
the fact
no.
we're digging in clay, and it's really good clay. And it made me wonder if at some point in that area's history, because I know the Nipmuc Indians populated the area, it made me wonder if someone ever took advantage of this clay that I'm digging in, and maybe that was the original indentation in the earth that this object was dropped into before it was hidden with these rocks. So that's funny that someone asks about the pottery, because Anne Marie, the owner of the property, we've been saying, yeah, this is like super good clay to work with. Makes you wonder if our hunch is maybe a psychic whisper telling us that that's in fact what this pit we're digging in originally was there for. That's odd.
They were specifically asking about a large amount of broken pottery.
Oh, well,
so-
broken? Yeah, well, there's been 7 glass objects shattered in the house, 2 of them being laptop screens when they were going to my website. That's kind of an odd coincidence. But yeah, some milk glass, very thick bottles. And I know...
I think they're talking about inside the hole. I believe whatever, we've
But the
only-
house I've been investigating, there has been these
Right.
objects have played a part.
But nothing other than a couple of pieces of tile type
Yeah,
of...
as far as the hole we poke around, yeah, there was some. Tiffany had hit upon that. She said has nothing to do with the target object you're looking for, but it's an artifact that's been dropped in the ground, and you are going to find it as you're digging. And she said looks like a piece of blue ceramic. I don't know if it's a broken plate or what, but we ended up finding a very old bathroom tile that was probably in the 70s or early 80s, was tossed out the window when they redid the bathroom, and it just stayed on the ground and slowly but surely sunk into the ground over the years. But, Tiff said we were going to find it, and we did find it. But that's the only connections I can make with that, so.
You, Matt?
Me, yeah.
Could you find any connections to pottery?
At his location.
At my location, no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh. Okay.
I saw a question.
Is there
jump
more
up.
questions or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Sorry. I didn't know.
Just chitter chat, I guess, on the screen.
Okay, good. Let me ask you this question. Do you, if Bigfoot really does exist, do you think he is a species like a canine, or do you think he would be considered, well, mammal, I guess would be.
Primate?
Yeah, like primate.
Canine's still a mammal, but
Yeah.
what you're
Right, right.
looking for, is he a hominid? Is he related to man? Is he part
Right.
of the greater ape species? Yes, that would be my estimation. Is some form of hominid that has not yet been fully documented.
I think he exists, but I think he's a dimension jumper.
Oh, that's it.
I think Bigfoot is a lot more than what he seems to be. I think he's just like the pugwudgies and the leprechauns and the fairies. I think Sasquatch is a very special creature, and that's why we just cannot can't get a finger on him. We can't get him down. I think he's a special mystery. I really do. I think he's probably the most important cryptid story to keep an eye on. Because the Loch Ness Monster is fun. But
I think I might have to
Yeah.
agree with that, because if you think about it, there's all these people out there looking for him constantly, and nobody's been able to find like where he dwells, where he sleeps.
See, do we know that we're actually looking in the right location?
yeah,
No, we don't.
So,
But if you, there are a bunch of people looking all over the world.
comparatively in the size of the area that
Yeah.
they reside in,
yeah,
you're talking one grain of sand
Yeah.
searching for something else on a
yeah,
beach.
yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Sorry. Nellie just wants to sit on me and Andy at the same
Same time, so
Yeah.
you can look at Mom. Yeah. Adore me, Mom.
It's our usual
A
night
listener would
routines
like
thing.
to know, do you think he can be a larger version of a Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal?
Cro-Magnon? No. Or Neanderthal? No. Because number one, Neanderthals were smaller generally than humans, as were Cro-Magnon. Maybe a descendant of an Australopithecus gigantus, which is a
I'll take
large
your
ape.
word for it.
Okay.
And they do have him in the fossil records, too,
Yes.
so we know he existed.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I find him fascinating. I don't know how I feel about him, nor do I know how I feel about aliens, but there's got to be some kind of something out there.
Okay.
You know what show I liked, and I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but I did, and I believe it's still on. I could be wrong, but Factor Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That was on the Sci-Fi Channel, because a lot of times they would have certain cases, whether it be alien or UFOs to Bigfoot, and then they would go to the locations and try to analyze
stories.
it.
Are you
And
talking
Look-
about
look
like
at-
fact or fake?
is that Fact or Fake? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
That's all
Fact or
right.
Fiction.
We know which one you
I
meant.
knew, yeah.
I only vaguely knew the show you're talking about. I don't think
I didn't watch
I
it
don't think
all
I've
the
ever watched
time,
it.
but I remember I did
don't
watch
think
a
I
few
ever saw
episodes
it.
and I liked it because it was, it
They
opened
tried
up
to
your eyes a
debunk
little bit.
the major stories, right?
Yes, yep. But to me, there was some stories that I never even heard of, and they
Right.
brought it to my attention. So I liked that aspect of it too. I mean, there were some that I did hear of, but there was a lot that I didn't. So.
Well, a lot of it they just got off the internet, looking
Yeah.
at these and this and that. So, yeah, some stuff you would hear, some stuff is stuff that was just put on, so they latched onto it because it was hot and fresh. And,
Right.
Yeah. When you go to the older cases, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
That already's been,
It's already been tampered or
Yeah.
destroyed or.
And the thing is with
done over and over
Yes.
and over. Sorry.
with debunking tales of the paranormal and the supernatural, for me, it's the debunking explanation is just as crazy as that there's ghosts and UFOs and Bigfoot. It's like I've just never had a debunker try to dispel something that I've looked into and felt it was relevant, felt it had some significance and was worth noting and keeping in mind. And people have gone after it, and it's like, your theory is just as crazy as it was a
Right.
ghost. So I'm just not interested in the debunking. I just hope that I'm smart enough that when someone sends me one of those phone app ghosts and goes, Andy, some guy at work sent me this picture. Isn't this amazing? No, it's a phone app. I'm
It's a
sorry. Yes, go back to work. They're all snickering in the break room right now. That actually happened. I had somebody send me.
Well, that's what's out there now with all these
Yeah.
I
crazy
get that all the
apps.
time.
Yeah.
But you should be able to stop, take a deep breath, and really look at the picture, or the video, or the audio clip, or whatever it is. And of course, you can't just jump in, like it's a deep end of the swimming pool. But they're interesting, and I'm just not interested in trying to figure out,
Right.
Is the Patterson film a fake? I've already come to the conclusion it isn't, and I'm just going to leave it at that and walk away from it. And everybody else who gets all bent out of shape and comes up with all these crazy explanations,
Right.
it's just, I'm sorry, you're wasting your time more than the guys out in the woods hunting for it.
Yep.
Okay,
Speaking of dragon breath, Lily has some dragon breath.
another question from the chat room is, has anyone ever seen Lizzie herself or a full body apparition in the Lizzie Borden house?
Wow, there was
Full-
an interesting photograph taken of a woman recently.
And there have been people that have seen, including myself, a tall, dark figure and a small, dark figure in various locations in the house, and other people have seen a person, but nobody that they can definitively say as Lizzie.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, it's-
I wouldn't say Lizzie herself, but I have seen on multiple occasions, either full body or partial while I've been there, but I'm not entirely sure how they come about or who they actually are.
There's a lot of history to that property, a lot of history.
Yeah, it's not just Mr. and Mrs. Borden that died in that
Right.
area, right in that general spot. So
And I also feel that a location that allows for a haunting, I think can attract ghosts from the neighborhood. So
Yes,
who
it
knows
does.
who's walking around in and out of that location.
yeah.
Especially if they want some attention. I know
Yeah.
people constantly go there for
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Oh, it's like, here's a good example. The Irish railroad workers that died, that wound up walking into a series of houses near where they died.
Oh, is that the one with
I want to say Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I did read something about that, and it was actually an archaeological.
Little dip, yeah.
They because of it, and they were finding some interesting artifacts in this spot where rumor had it that these guys
Guys,
were
yeah.
buried. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, ghosts can wander.
Yeah. That was what, 3 or 4 years ago or something like that?
Not much more than that.
Yeah.
Not much more than that. So something
Hopefully
about it on
that-
the internet.
That answers the question.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish you guys could see how Lily's sitting right now. I'm sorry. You and
She's a
you
good
guys.
little. She's a
Yeah.
good little dog.
She's
Yes,
just
you
she's
are.
just hanging out with us. That's all. Very relaxed. Has her elbow up. If it's an elbow.
So, have you two been getting an awful lot of requests for doing readings, with it being the Halloween season? Do a lot more people think about getting readings at this time of the year, or is it the same throughout?
I think we have. It all depends. Usually around the holidays, around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. I know things pick up a little bit because they want to connect with their loved ones,
Right.
and it's more so on a personal instead of doing the walkthroughs. It's when I say walkthrough, that means an historical location. But around the holidays, they do like to connect with their loved ones that have passed, so we do get more requests for private readings and so forth. I'm actually doing a gallery reading at Duxbury for the Duxbury Historical Society this Friday night, and I'm lucky enough to have it be sold out. So it's the first time that Duxbury is bringing me there, so I'm hoping everything goes well, which I'm sure it will.
I'll be at the forge.
Ooh.
Ooh. Telling ghost stories.
It's exciting. I think the whole month of October, even late September, things pick up because people want to do something spooky for Halloween. I know we've been booked nonstop all month. I'm still getting requests up until Halloween Day of, can you come do readings? Can you come do readings? And it's the most odd and unusual requests. But
Yes.
it's just, everybody needs to do this before Halloween. But like you said, it doesn't slow down. It picks up around Thanksgiving and Christmas especially because people want to hear from their loved ones around the
Right.
holidays. So it's like anything else. People find a reason to want to connect with their loved ones no matter what time of year it is. But
Right.
Halloween itself, people like the thrill of experiencing a demonstration of sorts, of connecting to spirit or tarot card readings or investigations or
We
They
get
want to
asked a
dip their
lot.
toe in the water.
Yeah, they just want to have that experience.
Right, and we get asked a lot to do parties around this
Yeah.
time. It's more so the parties, like I'm having a Halloween party. Do you guys want to?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like where the entertainment. But
Right.
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 Right. And bring that really great dip you make.
One last question. How many hours a week do you think you spend on these investigations?
They can vary.
I think it varies on the location, how much time you've spent there, how much, like,
Yeah,
even audio.
The number of
everything.
different factors.
All I can say is ghost hunting, literally, as silly as this sounds, is every day with me. I'm always thinking about what I'm doing, either on a current case or checking out emails. People have asked me, would you like to look into this? And looking for places to possibly write about in a book. I've spent so much time looking into ghosts. It's constant. It's just constant for me. I couldn't give any kind of figure on that.
Well, I think what it is too, especially with you guys, is that what you guys see on TV when someone comes into your house or a facility, you get an hour's worth of what they do, but you guys give up a good, it's not just, you're not done in an hour,
No.
you spend as much time as you possibly can, and then you review your evidence, and then you also do more research, and it's basically research, not just investigating. It's doing your research, doing your homework, getting back to the owner or the family or the connection that you've made who's called to ask you for help, and helping them out on a personal level. It's not just this goes bye, there's just so much more to it.
It's easily a full-time job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the current investigation in Situate, Rhode Island is 3.5 years now for me.
Right.
It's just never ending.
Well, think about it. Usually on weekends is when we have the opportunity for us to, really have to do the 9 to 5 thing. But you show up on Saturday in the beginning, go all through Saturday and most of Sunday and whatever. You pack everything up, and then Monday through Friday, you're listening through this, reviewing through the photographs, not once but twice, sometimes 3 and 4 times.
Right.
Slowly isolating everything out, which takes time. And then you're looking at, 8, 12-hour, and sometimes 16-hour days, Saturday and Sunday, doing this, and then 3 to 4 hours, through the week, sifting through everything else.
And it never gets old.
Which is why I always go with short files.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for being a part of Spirit Connections again. Hopefully we will see you guys back soon.
Sure.
If I have it my way, I'd like to have you guys back next week.
Next week. We're going to
Lily, you're almost crazy.
I really wish you could see how she's sitting right now. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you for tuning into Spirit Connections, and we will be back next week, 7 p.m. here on WCTV, SpookySouthCoast.com/SpookyTV, or TiffanyRice.com. Click on web show. All right, guys, have a good night. We'll see you next week.